Welcome back to Scary Hours. I'm your host, P, your guide through the darkest corners of the horror section. Shout out to all my returning subscribers. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell before you go so you know when I drop a new video. Tonight we're diving into 8 frightening movies streaming free on Tubi to make your Halloween marathon legendary. Who doesn't love free stuff, right? Right? Alright then. We unlocking free horror gems in this great lineup of terror, from live stream exorcisms gone wrong to cavernous nightmares. I'm just gonna point you in the right direction real quick. So, without further ado, let's dive in. First off, The Cleansing Hour, a 2019 horror film directed by Damien Levesque, starring Ryan Guzman and Kyle Gallner, follows 2 hosts of a popular webcast who stage and stream fake exorcisms until their scam turns more real than they ever could imagine. This is a great way to start off the list. For one, I'm just glad that Tubi picks up some of the good stuff from Shudder, so if you don't have a paid subscription with them, you can still catch some of their fire floating on Tubi. So here, Max and Drew run a hit live stream show faking exorcisms for clout until a demonic force takes over his fiance, turning the prank into a real ritual. So now the whole production crew and possibly anyone watching the broadcast is in some form of danger. There's some on-point performances by the main characters, and it has a nice twist on your average exorcism flick and comes with some pretty decent practical effects and some okay CGI. So if you find yourself scrolling to find something to watch, definitely put The Cleansing Hour in your rotation.
Looks like the show's got some heat, Maxie. Time to go off script.
Next, we have Fear.com, a 2022 horror film directed by Williams Malone, starring Stephen Dorff, Natasha McElhone, and Stephen Ray. Follows a New York detective investigating a series of murders linked to a disturbing website. This one here explores the dark side of voyeurism and online cruelty through the dark web and how it could be a gateway to horror. Really digging deep into the dependency on screen time and the internet and the effects it can bring, because in here, it's almost like a drug to some of them. It drives them crazy, making their eyes bleed, watching torture-style kills, but once you log on, your worst nightmares will come and get you in 48 hours. Plus a killer running the site who's doing his dirty work for all to see. Some pretty decent dark visuals, kind of glitchy, an early 2000s movie where they stepping into that new age of digital effects. But I also think this is a slept-on classic that's good for an October night. So definitely put Fear.com on your watch list.
Promise me one thing. That you won't visit that site.
Now moving on to number 3, Hellraiser Judgment, a 2018 horror film directed by Gary J. Tunnicliffe, starring Damon Carney, Randy Wayne, and Alexandra Harris. Follows 3 detectives on the hunt for a serial killer to a house that leads to the depths of hell. So, I'm a huge fan of the Hellraiser movies, and I mean all of them. Except for Revelations, that was weak. The Pinhead didn't work for me. And of course, there's none like Doug Bradley. I gotta say, this Pinhead works fine though. Here we have 3 detectives trying to catch a killer whose crimes mirror the 10 Commandments and end up on trial themselves by the Cenobites. This has some cool new Cenobite members who carry out brutal punishment for Hell's courtroom, and I think this was pretty much in line with the gore and gruesome shock value that the Hellraiser series always wants to portray, with good practical effects for a shoestring budget also. So get on Tubi and check the sites that Hellraiser Judgment has to show you. Up next, The Remains, a 2016 horror movie directed by Thomas Della Bella, starring Todd Lowe, Brooke Butler, and Maria Olsen. A father moves his family to a new home after his wife passes, but the items that had been left in the house turn out to be haunted. This one right here is just right for an October night. We couldn't have a watch list without some haunted house action. This one's done well with the dark atmosphere and certain camera angles used to hide and reveal the supernatural entities, moving through a bit of a slow burn setup with a grieving family moving to a secluded home where they uncover a chest of haunted antiques all possessed by a spirit determined to claim the children. A little bit of gore, but this is a low-key indie haunted house flick that packs raw possession scares and no doubt a great watch for spooky season. So add The Remains to your watch list. Next up, The Descent, a 2005 horror movie directed by Neil Marshall, starring Natalie Mendoza, Shauna McDonald, and Alex Reed. Follows 6 women who enter an uncharted cave system and struggle to survive against the monstrous creatures inside. The all-female cast that they have in here really sells the relentless fear and underlying fractured friendships in this claustrophobic nightmare with a few twists. This flick ventures into the dark depths of cave diving, and what was supposed to be a fun girls' weekend turns out to be a creature feature fight for survival. One of the friends is already broken from dealing with a tragic loss, so this adventure was technically set up to uplift her spirits a bit until the crew discovers they're not alone and that there's subterranean monsters lurking in the darkness. But these things are blind, so every time the ladies panic or start making noise, the creatures are alerted to their whereabouts. I love this movie. I think it's excellent cave horror with decent gore and practical makeup for the creatures. It has a worthy sequel streaming on Tubi also, so don't miss that one after you check this out, The Descent. Next, Anything for Jackson, a 2020 supernatural horror film directed by Justin G. Dick, starring Sheila McCarthy and Julian Richins. An elderly couple kidnap a pregnant woman with the intention of putting their deceased grandson's spirit into her unborn baby. Here we have a grieving couple who lost their only grandson, so they're so desperate to see him again that they resort to black magic and try to perform a reverse exorcism, hoping to bring little Jackson back. From the very start, you can tell this couple has no idea what they're doing, so everything's gonna go wrong, and then what follows is a ritual gone wrong and dark descent into chaos. When all kinds of different demonic spirits show up, you get a nice visceral punch from the gore and contortions from one of the ghosts who just does all these different type of things with his body. So there's some lightweight body horror, but the performances and story touching on grief is a fresh take on the occult thriller with some dark humor to lighten the tension as they're tripping through the motions of this whole ordeal. But it's definitely a good movie, so make sure to add Anything for Jackson to your October watch list. Next, Laid to Rest, a 2009 slasher film directed by Robert Green Hall, starring Bobby Sue Luther, Kevin Gage, and Lena Headey. Follows a young woman who must escape a mass serial killer after waking up in a coffin with amnesia. You know it's only right that we include a psycho killer in the mix, and a lot of folks haven't heard of Chrome Skull. And that's okay, I introduce you. It's alright because I'm here to let you know this is a B-movie slasher with top-tier kills and relentless pacing. The cat and mouse style chase gets going as soon as our main character wakes up in a casket in a funeral parlor with no memory of anything. Then as she's running for her life, she notices the killer has a camcorder attached to his shoulder, filming his kills, a kind of thrill of the kill type of thing for him. So it's a different take on modern slashers because nowadays everyone is recording. I think the dark, low-budget visual style matches the tone of the film, plus its minimal CGI. If you're needing to discover a new slasher villain this October, well, here you go. Laid to Rest and its sequel Chrome Skull are both streaming free on Tubi, so check them out. Last but not least is The Blackcoat's Daughter, a 2017 horror film directed by Osgood Perkins, starring Emma Roberts, Kiernan Shipka, and Lucy Boynton. 2 young women at a prestigious prep school are haunted by an evil, invisible entity while stranded over winter break. All I gotta say is A24 and Osgood Perkins. Enough said. Because as we know, Osgood Perkins, Perk Dog as I call him, has been knocking fire horror movies out of the park lately, and A24 always has their hands in the good stuff. This one has a dreadful atmospheric tone to it while the tension hits at a slow burn, weaving 3 parallel stories of these girls at an isolated Catholic boarding school. The non-linear storytelling unites these girls bound by the sinister force with nowhere to go since they're snowed in and alienated, what you supposed to do against the supernatural. I think all three girls deliver amazing performances to match the mood, and it has a great twist at the end. This is some of Perkins' early horror work, and probably my favorite. Darker than Longlegs, and definitely more serious than The Monkey. And he's just getting better, so if you're a fan of his latest films, The Blackcoat's Daughter will definitely set off on October 9th, so check it out.
I mean, I just wish you could stay and see my performance. That's all.
And there you have it, my good people. That wraps up another list of 8 free Tubi horror flicks to fuel your Halloween. We're getting close to that eventful night, and you need to keep the terrors going with such an epic lineup. So grab your popcorn and cut the lights. Which one of these films will you watch first? Drop your pick in the comments section. Also, don't leave without sharing this video, liking, and subscribing to the channel for more Scary Hours heat to come your way. Remember, tonight the darkness is watching you. I'm P of Pinpoint Pictures signing off. Y'all be safe out there.